Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, welcome to another vlog. I am recording on Reed, my Braille Sense U2, just because he's closest. He's probably always going to be closest after Sammy pulled her let's eat text for lunch thing last week, even though Sammy has the better recorder by far. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the last week's vlog. I don't want to go explain it now. You know, Reed, everything's going to end up on Reed anyway, or on my computer. Maybe I should just start recording with Reed. I don't know. I'll figure it out. If you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Ann? Because you haven't seen, like, last week's vlog. Reed and Sammy are both Braille Senses. If you don't know what Braille Senses are, they're basically specialized laptops made with Braille keyboards and Braille displays so that the blind use them. And Sammy, the newer Braille Sense, the Braille Sense 6, has a better recorder by far, but she also, I use my Braille Senses heavily for word processing, and she doesn't know how to edit text without deleting text that I don't want her to delete. I'll be proofreading and editing, and I'll make a change, or I don't even know what causes it, but suddenly a line of text will disappear, or a block of text will disappear. Okay, I won't have that, period. So after Sammy pulled that, I mean, she always has been the best recorder, but after she pulled that, it's like, okay, text writing, word processing, that's going back to Reed. And of course, with Reed being so close, it's easy to make a recording on Reed. So I don't know, most people probably just use one device to record their YouTube. I probably use 2 or 3. Sometimes Reed, sometimes Sammy, sometimes one of my Victor Reader streams. And whatever, you don't care what I record on, do you? But, I mean, I'm into tech. That's one of the things I get into. Anyway, let's not spend 20 minutes babbling about tech like we did last week. Hi everyone, it's Monday morning. What does this week look like? I've got typical Monday. I have to email my team lead. I have been meaning to do that ever since I had a conversation with someone on Thursday where they really kind of helped me see and acknowledge what I needed and realize that I really need to have this conversation with my team lead. If only for my peace of mind, I guess. It's possible that we've had a really thumbnail surface type of conversation. That's a screwed up phrase, but I'm sure you can figure it out. A really, like, tiny kind of conversation. It wasn't really a conversation. I asked a question, I got an answer. It seemed like she thought that she'd already told me that I had more volition than I was giving myself. And so when I come to her and say, I want to have a conversation, a one-on-one conversation, and then we have it, she's probably going to, if I'm correct, she might say, you know, I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of this. If that's what you need, do it. But it's that part of me that is terrified of doing the wrong thing on the job because I naturally have so often. And it's so hard for me to find the right job. And I'm going to reach the point pretty quickly where I'm just going to get tired of looking for the right job and come to acknowledge that the right job just doesn't exist for me, at least not in the world that we live in where people are expected to report from 9 to 5 or show up for 3 hours at a time and be in a virtual suite of offices where no one ever shuts their door, or suite of cubicles where there's all kinds of stuff going on, or, you know, in the real world that we live in. First of all, I don't believe that this is not the right job for me at the moment, but I do believe that this is not the job that I could just do and do and do, and I end up having to set timers for myself to clock out, because if I don't, I'd be on the clock 24/7. I have a friend and acquaintance, know she's watching. Hi. I know you're watching. We were talking yesterday, and she was saying that she has found her perfect job. She has found the thing that she would do 24/7 if she could. She would do it if she doesn't look at the calendar and know what she has to do, and then set a timer. Your ride is coming in an hour. Her ride would come and she would miss the ride because, her ride would come and go because it would show up and she'd be in the middle of her work that she doesn't even think of as work. She loves it so much. That is not my current job. That has never been something that has been my job. Where was I going with that? See, I do this. I swerve off into different places, and then by the time I dig myself out of that rabbit hole, I was like, where was I headed before I fell into that rabbit hole? Okay, so I've got to email my team lead sooner than later. Like, I should have done that before, but shoulda, woulda, coulda. I need to do that. I want to do that today. If I don't just ask her during our work shift, can I talk to you, like, privately? Can you send me a invite to a meeting? But we have that today. I've got 2 meetings tomorrow. We're having this virtual all staff whatever it is on Wednesday. I don't even know what to call it, but it's not an in-service, but I guess I would liken it to an in-service. Anyway, that's on Wednesday. Thursday I've got an appointment to physically be at a place and meet with this person, the same person that helped me understand my own needs on Thursday, so I do look forward to that appointment. I just need to be aware that it's happening. And then Friday, I'm expecting it to be a typical Friday. I don't know how much of this I'll vlog. I never vlog Fridays anymore, it seems. Maybe one day I will, but anyway, for whatever checking in with the vlog is worth on Monday morning, that's what I've done. And now I'm going to move on. I think I figured out where I was going to go with that. I think my boss might think that I should know that it's okay if I need to show up for only part of... Why is it that as soon as I start talking, something starts talking, one of my reads, meaning read my computer or read my phone or read my work phone. They're all programmed with Reed's voice. I love Reed, can you tell? If Reed was a person, I'd probably marry him. Anyway, my boss might think that she's told me that if I want to only show up for part of this and then disappear for the rest, it's okay. But I guess for some reason I need reassurance, likely because I just feel like I really need to cement permission before I do things my own way in a job where I'm working for someone else. Because when I'm working for someone else, they have the right to fire me. They have the ability, the authority, the power to fire me. I'm not going to get fired over this, but that's just where my head goes, because it's always been hard for me to find a job, and I don't know if the right job exists in this corporate America world we live in, and I don't know if I've got the courage to start a business, and what in the world would my business be? I mean, no one's going to pay me to hobby write. No one's going to pay me to bounce on an exercise ball. No one's going to pay me to listen to my favorite particular TV shows on this old-time TV, radio, streaming service. That is, it's TV, but I think it's an audio, it's an audio streaming service. It's got a .tv website, but their logo is, I think, a speaker where the screen's supposed to be. Or is that a logo that I imagined up if I was to create something like this? Anyway, these are things that I love to do. These are things that I would do forever if I could. But these are not things that I could make money off of. Unless I somehow found a huge amount of money to dump into a contract for publishing and then published a book or a book series that people just loved. And every time I put a new Caringway Chronicles out, they'd be crashing the website trying to download it, which would make me a whole buttload of money. Is that dream far-fetched? Maybe not. I am an up-and-coming author. But is it going to make me a lot of money, and is it going to happen at any kind of time that I can imagine doing anything with right now? Does it have the potential to make me a lot of money? Yeah, it does. Is it going to happen anytime soon? Probably not. So I've got to have some way of making money before that just explodes and flourishes. And so I have to have a job to make money because the money that I have been entitled to so far just is not enough to support me. Well, hell, neither is what I make on my job, but I mean, I just make it with what I have. Anyway, the point is, I can't afford to do my own thing and let that get me in trouble or get me fired. So I feel the need to say, look, boss, I have to say, this is the way I work best, and that, I don't know that it runs counter to the way you're doing things, but it's not permission requested to do it my way. I feel like I need to have that conversation. And if she says, permission granted for the third time, why can't you understand that it's okay? Well, then that's what I get, but I need to have this conversation with her, or I need to keep suffering through what really doesn't work for me. I opt to have the conversation, so I need to write that email to her. I want to do that by the end of the day. Either email her and say, when can we talk, or ask her during the work shift today, can we have a one-on-one meeting? I wish we could set up a breakout room and I could just take her in a separate room during the work shift, but if it's possible to do that with the meeting platform that we use, I don't know how to do it, and even if I did, I don't know if I could. I'm just going to tell her I want to talk to her one-on-one and see what she says. Okay, I have asked my boss for a meeting. I'm not sure if it's happening this week or next week. I was hoping it would happen this week, but I think she might have put it on for next week. But I've texted her to clarify, and whenever she is available, I mean, if she's not available next week, rather, if she's not available until next week, then she's just not available until next week, and I'll just hang in there for one more week. My boss did get back to me and say, I booked that on the wrong day. I meant to book it for this week, so we will have had that conversation by the end of the week. It is Tuesday morning. I've got about 20 minutes before my first meeting. It's been a late morning. Well, what happened was I woke up so early. I mean, most people don't wake up that early, but my body does this thing where it gets some amount of sleep and then doesn't want to sleep anymore, even though it needs to. So I was up and about doing stuff, and then it hit me how tired I still was. So I went back to bed, slept for another handful of hours, and now I've got 3 meetings, 11, 3, and 5. The 5 o'clock one is not a work-related one, but I want to be as attentive as I can. But I'm thinking that today might end up being just the day that I rest between meetings, because I gotta tell you, tomorrow and Thursday are gonna be busy days. Tomorrow, I've gotta be up and conscious and coherent and in a good space at something called 9 a.m. Well, really, probably something called 8:30 a.m. at the latest rather, because there's this meeting between, like, is it 9 and 12, 10 and 12? Now I may have to look at the email I got about it, but that's happening. And then the whole event is from 9 to 4, I believe. I may not be required to go to all of it, and I mean, I don't know how that's going to work, but, and then I've got the other self-development meeting that I'm going to go to between the two. I mean, I think there's a hour-long break, and I'm going to have to go to that self-development thing during that break. I do believe I've got the volition to decide not to go to this other stuff, which maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. But the point is, Wednesday's a big meeting day, and then on Thursday I've got morning meetings too. I've got my meeting with my boss to talk about what I need. That's a short meeting. Then at 9:45 there's a meeting that normally it would happen Wednesday, but because of what's happening on Wednesday, we moved it to Thursday. That's one of the teams that I'm on. And then I'm going in for a class. So that's going to be a big day. So really, if I'm going to just end up resting and needing a lot of sleep and rest, today's the day to do it. Maybe if I do a lot of sleeping and resting today, my body will actually cooperate with the schedule that I need to keep tomorrow and Thursday. One can hope, can't she? Well, I talk about taking it easy, but I don't know how much I really did that. And then I fall asleep when I don't want to, and then when I do have some time, I get little to no sleep there. And then what do you want to bet I don't make it through this? Fortunately, this particular thing isn't a work meeting, but oh, this body of mine. I know I can't be the only person whose body just can't live up to what she's expected to do. There's probably a lesson here about not piling so much on a day, but when 2 out of the 3 meetings are work-related, what choice do you have? I do not like early mornings, as in meetings at 9 o'clock. I've got 2 in a row. Today and tomorrow, meetings at 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's Wednesday morning, and I'm going to go find this meeting link, and technically I think this whole thing is optional. I mean, I've had colleagues say, I'm not going to this thing, and it's tempting to join them and not go, but I feel like I should go. Echo, stop. I feel like, Echo, stop. I feel like I should go, because you don't get paid for never doing what you're supposed to do. I don't think I would get fired for not showing up at this meeting, but I'm not going to get paid for it either if I don't show up. So I'm going to show up. Well, if there's a meeting at 9 o'clock, I don't find a link for it. There's a meeting at 10 o'clock, and I know where I can find the link for that. I may just not be able to show up at the 9 o'clock, whatever they're doing, because I don't know where to find it. It might just be about 2 hours of work today, which is all I really, because I've read the agenda, and it looks, first of all, I know, like I said, the whole thing is optional. I feel like I should go to at least something, so I'll go to the morning thing, which apparently doesn't start till 10. Thanks, I'll take this hour back, sure. I'm not as married to this as maybe I quote-unquote should be, but I'm at least going, so give me some credit for that. I participated in today as much as I was going to, which is still more than some people did, so as far as I'm concerned, I clocked my time as far as what I did, and I was honest about what I did, and I didn't ask them to pay me for time I didn't put in, so as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. And it wasn't like mandatory, and there was at least one person that I know that just said they probably weren't going to go, so as far as I'm concerned, I did more than I could have, so it was a little confusing. I got to save the date that said from 9 to 4 plan on working, and then there was no 9 o'clock meeting as far as I could tell, and then there was the 10 to 12, which, full transparency, I ducked out at 11:15, and I just wrote 10 to 11:15 on my timesheet, and then I could have gone to one of those meetings, or I could have watched there were a couple of recordings that I could have watched. I watched a recording. Not that I really expect to use it, mind you, but I watched the recording. Even in the full group meeting, I think I learned something. And I learned something about this program, even though I don't know that I'm going to use it. I think I just watched it to find out what it was all about. I really wasn't familiar with the technology. I could do a whole separate video about what I think about these computer programs that say they check for accessibility. Maybe they do check for accessibility, but I feel like with these programs, a person can run a program and say, well, I ran that program and it said it was accessible, so I'm going to assume that the file is accessible. Well, I still don't think that there's any replacing human beings. You know, that's my whole opinion on AI and advancing computers. I love technology as much as the next person, but when computers start stealing humans' jobs, I'm not okay with that. Even if I, due to disability, diagnosed or undiagnosed, cannot be the human that does that job, or even if I'm not the human that does that job just because I don't freaking like to do accessibility testing, let's just call that like it is, I don't know how okay I am with a computer claiming that it can do the same thing a person can do. You know, there was a time that a human did that job, but now humans can't find jobs. Humans who want to work can't work because there's computers doing their jobs. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. But I put some work in today, and as far as I'm concerned, that's good enough. And now I'm gonna live through my Wednesday night and wake up Thursday morning and do a meeting at 9 o'clock that ends at 9:30, a meeting at 9:30 that ends at 10:30 or so, and then go to work with a teacher and hopefully not get a text 20 minutes before the class ends that, hey, your cab's here. I really don't like it when even my preferred ride service shoves me off to a cab. I don't care which ride service shoves me off to a cab. I don't like it when they do that. I don't like random drivers. I like it when the driver has worked with me before, they know what it means to pick me up, and unfortunately, even with the preferred ride service, I don't always get that. I've used them twice now since I've been back at this location, and they're picking me up. Their drivers are picking me up, but they're sending random cabs to pick me up to take me home, and it's anxiety provoking, it's distressing. This is why transportation is too much of a problem for me. This is why I do things from home as much as I possibly can. I don't know if I'm going to vlog about it or not, but I'm going to just try it for a couple of weeks and see what I think of it. And then I might continue it or I might not. It's I suppose, for lack of a better thing to call it, it's a dieting program. But you're not just doing your own thing. You've got not a life coach, but a health coach, a person that's kind of, well, as fate would have it, she's doing her own program and she's helping others do it at the same time. She just happens to be at a time in her life when she is doing it. I mean, she's actually doing the program at the same time that I just happen to be. Anyway, I'm going to start it next week, and I don't know if I'm going to take you along on this health journey, if you will, or not. What am I expecting out of it? Not much. I'm going to do this for a couple of weeks, and we'll see if I lose weight. We'll see if I have more energy. We'll see if I sleep better. We'll see if I, if any of this stuff happens. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, well, you know what? I experienced it, and I'm sure I will come out of this with some healthier snack ideas than what you get out of the grocery store candy aisle and stuff that you like but isn't necessarily good for you. And as I order whatever from this company, I do believe that I will be supporting my health coach, who I don't know personally, but she is a YouTuber, and I actually found her as I don't even know if I was looking for videos. I think somehow she came up in my suggestions or something, and she was making videos about something I was interested in, and I was liking those videos and enjoying those videos, maybe not liking them as in adding them to my liked playlist, but enjoying those videos. And then I was like, you know what, let me watch some of these health videos, but not really necessarily be serious about anything. And then I ended up deciding to try it out. So she works with this company. So if I order from her company, like with her affiliate links, or I order from the company and she is my health coach, I will be supporting a YouTuber that I like. That is, as far as I'm concerned, worth doing. Even if I don't commit to it, I'm not going to commit to it for her if it's not something that's going to work for me. But I could swap out the Snickers bars for something that I remember liking from this dip my toe in the lifestyle thing that I'm doing. And I get a box of yummy, healthier snack, and she gets a little bit of money in her piggy bank, because whatever a person makes off of an order made by one of their clients, she certainly deserves it. Where was I going with that? Why did I start this conversation? I think just to say I'm doing this starting next week, and I don't know if I'm going to vlog about it or not, but just in case, I guess I'm going to talk to you about it to that extent. It's Thursday morning, and it's getting closer and closer to time for this meeting. It's that you're meeting with your boss type nerves, similar to the nervousness that you might feel when you're meeting with any authority figure, at least when I am. It's probably not the big deal that I'm making it, but well, I'll talk to you when it's over. I always worry about these things, and then they turn out fine. She totally understands. She's gonna accommodate what I've asked for, and we're good now. I'm feeling a lot better about these work shifts now that I know that I can just show up for as long as I need to and then slip away. And they can do what they need to do without me until such time as they need me, and then they'll reach out to me, and I'll be more likely to get it when my phone's reading me the texts and chats rather than holding the space open for a Google Meet that I'm really not present to. Oh, okay.
9:24 a.m. and 43 seconds.
I've got less than 20 minutes before my next meeting. And then after that meeting, I've got some time before I have to go to my class. And I really wish that when I was coming home from that class, it would be through my preferred ride service instead of a cab. Last time they sent a cab, the cab company texted me in the middle of class to say, your cab is here. And I'm going, they're not going to leave without me, are they? Their butt needs to sit out there. They're 20 minutes early. It's a one-on-one class, so it wasn't overwhelmingly disruptive to a whole class, but it kind of put me on red alert. It was disruptive to the class, even though it only disrupted me. I don't need that. I think I did talk about this before, but like I said then, this is why transportation is such a bitch. This is why I won't leave home to do my job. This is why my ex-job that I left last year was the last job that I expect to ever have, where I physically have to leave my apartment and walk into an office. I never want to be required to physically go into work again. Well, in the real world, things don't happen that way. Well, then this is why I don't belong in the real world. I've kind of created my own little place in the world where it's okay to be me. Okay. On to the next meeting, which I won't vlog. I never vlog meetings. On to the next thing I have to say to you guys, whenever that is. Okay. It is almost time for me to go. Okay, they're here. Wait a minute. That's really brilliant. Leave and almost leave my keys in here when I'm going out there. I'm having to count on you guys a lot less since I left that job all the way out on freaking... I'm working remotely, so yeah. And remote is the only way I want to work from now on. Physically going into a place is just too much for me anymore. Okay, I'm at home. I was beginning to wonder when I was going to get here. That cab driver's stupid GPS claimed that we were there. We were nowhere near there. It's okay, I got home. You know, I titled this video, Even Working From Home Can Be Hard, and it can. But I think the lesson to be learned this week is that even working at home can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. And when it is hard and you can think of a way it could be easier, it's okay to say to your boss, hey, is there any way that you would allow for this? Because this is really what works best for me. Not all bosses care what works best for you. They expect you to do what they expect you to do, and if you can't do it, too damn bad. Well, that might not be the best job for you if you've got a boss like that. Fortunately, my boss in this situation said, you're asking for something that's totally reasonable, and I'm willing to let you do that. So now that we've had that conversation, now that she's agreed to allow that, I think things are going to get easier. And on that note, I'm going to close this out. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.